So you always hear about how people are like, trust the process, but how can you trust the process before you really even know what the process is? Or how can you trust the process without building a process that you should trust, that you could trust? Before you trust the process, you kind of have to build a process that you can trust. But the thing is that this is in your control. You get to create the process that you can trust. And then once you have the process in place, you can trust the process. If you're trying to become a healthier person, you want to write a book by next year or something, you need to build a system in place that will get you to those goals in a certain amount of time. I like to give myself 30-day challenges, and 30 days is actually not really enough to become a different version of myself, honestly, or even to complete writing a book. I would say it's more around like 90 days, 100 days, maybe even a whole year. But a whole year sounds a little inconceivable to me, despite that I have been alive for many years on this earth. A whole year sounds so far away that I just find it unfathomable. However, my time horizon can look forward to the next 30 days, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I can picture myself that far. So usually what I do is I set myself up for a 30-day challenge, which I actually talk about in a lot more detail in a different video if you'd like to watch that. And if you're into my channel, which is all about self-improvement, and if you love this personality, please give me a like and subscribe and sign up for my newsletter as well, authorvanhoang.com. I give monthly updates on my life as an author, especially right now that I have a book coming out next year that is being published by Macmillan. It's called Auntie Q's Golden Claws Nail Salon, and it's about this girl who gets sent to work at her aunt's nail salon for the summer after she made a mistake and her parents are really mad at her. What I'm here to talk about are the rituals and the processes that I've set up that have allowed me to become this person that gets to write books and gets to have a full-time job that I'm very passionate about, and gets to still work out and be the person of my dreams and to just get all of my goals and everything accomplished. I wanted to talk about the idea of rituals. Everyone loves to tout the importance of morning rituals, but I find evening rituals just as valuable as what you do in the morning. Of course, in the morning, that's when your brain is in this lovely alpha state where you can change your mind and set your goals for the day and everything. But as a mom, honestly, I don't really have a lot of control over my mornings, and that's just something I kind of have had to let go. I used to have a pretty elaborate morning ritual as well before my schedule got a little too away from me, but I would wake up and do morning pages, which is this idea that has been popularized by Julia Cameron, who wrote this book called The Artist's Way, which I would highly recommend everyone read. I don't do all of the practices in that book, but one thing that is very popular that a lot of people really love is the idea of morning pages. As soon as you wake up, you write 3 pages of stream of consciousness thoughts and journaling. Anything that comes to mind, no stopping, don't even drink coffee, don't say hi to anyone, just wake up and start writing. That was lovely and everything before I had a kid. I promise I'm not going to blame all of my problems on my kid, but I just don't have control over my time anymore the way that I used to. So at the time I didn't understand, but one of the criticisms about this idea is that Julia Cameron talks about how you should set the time to do this, prioritize yourself and your art over your family. And at the time I didn't have a family per se. I mean, I had my husband and he's part of my family, but he's an adult. He understands that I need to do creative work, but my kid does not understand. You know, pets may not understand, your job may not understand. So I used to do the morning pages. I would get up and I would write 3 pages of stream of consciousness, and I would walk my dogs, and I would just have this very nice morning to myself. But now I don't have that anymore, and I would try to sort of incorporate the morning pages like later in the day. I felt as long as I did them, as long as I journaled for 3 pages, that I would feel it was still beneficial to me in some way. But honestly, mornings just don't work for me. I can't keep to a ritual. And instead of beating myself up, I started doing stuff in the evening when I got home from work instead. I do want to acknowledge that we all have different privileges. Even though I don't have a lot of morning free time, I get home pretty late. I work evening hours, so by the time I get home, most of my family are already asleep. So I actually have about 2 hours to myself in the evening that I can complete this, which makes it a lot easier for me. So after I shower and brush my teeth and everything for the night, what I do in my evening, which you do not have to repeat, but this is just something that's out there for your information. I stretch every night. I do a simple 20-minute yoga. If I'm really feeling it for the night, like if I haven't gotten my workout in for the day or something, then I'll turn on the app Down Dog and do a 45-minute session. But really what I do is a 20-minute sequence that I made up for myself that works for my body and my needs, because I'm a runner and a walker and I sit in front of a computer every day. There are just certain stretches that are really good for me. If you are not familiar with yoga or you're a beginner, turn on a video, download the Down Dog app. I really recommend it, especially if you're a student. You could sign up to get 4 years for free because they are very generous with students and educational licenses. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but it's very intuitive. You could set up how much time you're going to do, what type of yoga you want to do, what type of voice or instructor you like, and then also if you don't like a stretch, then you could thumbs down and they won't ever repeat that one. If I'm not using the Down Dog app, I would listen to some affirmations to calm down my nervous system and remind me the thoughts that make me happy. I've been trying to incorporate 10 minutes of like happy elevated feelings into my day, and this is a perfect time to do it, where I kind of build it into a habit that I already do, which is stretching. It's a really great way to sort of start this evening ritual process. And then after my stretching, I do some EFT tapping. I've talked about that in length before, but it's based on acupuncture, where you tap on a series of points on your face and body that flush your nervous system from all the cortisol and all the stress that's been building up all day. And I have found that whenever I skipped EFT tapping, especially at night, I will not be able to sleep and I will have a much worse day as far as moods and mental health the following day. So I really absolutely try not to skip the EFT tapping. After that, if I haven't meditated for the day, I'll try to do the meditation. I like sometimes on the EFT tapping app that I use, which is called the Tapping Solution, not affiliated again, there is a session where you can EFT into meditating. You do a series of tappings and then you meditate. And I find that one very helpful. There's one for deep breathing as well. Once I'm done with that, if I still have time and I'm not super sleepy and about to pass out, then I will stand on a vibration plate, which is just this platform that shakes vigorously and is supposed to drain your lymphatic system and a ton of other benefits. I just find it really fun to use, and it feels like a massage when I'm on there. It shakes all this muscle tension away from my body, which really helps with chronic pain, mostly tendinitis and muscle tension, and a list of ailments that are caused by sitting at a computer all day. So that is my evening ritual. Just to set up an example of what you're trying to accomplish by trusting the process, or whatever process you're trying to set up. There are so many goals that you can work towards, but one easy thing for me to talk about is losing weight. There's an attainable goal and you can set up measurable outcomes and tasks to do every day. For my process to lose weight, I picked a diet and an exercise that I can stick to every single day. The key is to actually do it every single day and to be consistent about it. If you cannot pick something that you can't do every day, then you need to pick something else. So for me, that's just walking. Okay, I talk a lot about running because I got really into running this past year. But before I was a runner, I was always a walker. I walked for at least an hour every day because walking has so many benefits. I already just really love to walk. I didn't even do it as part of a fitness routine. I just love to do it because you get to be outside in nature. I work right next to a very beautiful park. So staring out the window at this park and not being able to go outside at least once a day is just torture. I like to go out there and walk, but just find something you can do every single day that you love. And it can be swimming, pickleball. I know so many people that have gotten into pickleball lately. I know somebody who lost 30 pounds from playing pickleball. Pick something that you love to do and try to do it every single day, and pick a diet that you love. For me, it's intermittent fasting because I can't stick to a diet where I'm not allowed to eat certain things. Of course, if you have an allergy or some sort of disease that enforces food limitations, I'm so sorry. You can't control that. I know I'm very privileged that I don't have any of those things. I will forget about any food limitations I put on myself if I'm going to put myself on a diet. And so just doing intermittent fasting and knowing that from certain time to a certain time I'm not allowed to eat makes it so much easier for me. If you can't stick to a certain diet either, maybe give intermittent fasting a try. Consistency really is the key. Doing something every day is really the key. It sucks to keep hearing that this thing that everyone keeps saying is the answer is actually the answer, but it really is the answer. And I have a whole nother video on consistency and building stackable habits and everything if you want to go watch that and what worked for me. Like, I'm a normal person. I'm not like a professor writing a book. This stuff doesn't come easy for me. It's just something that has been really hard, but I have learned ways that make it easy. And so if you go watch that video, you may be able to incorporate some of these techniques into your life and also build something on a consistent level like I have. So I'm going to take a moment now to just say that something that's really worked for me that I do on a regular basis to sort of remind myself of my goals whenever I start to lose inspiration or motivation to keep going is I'll take like 5 minutes and straight up daydreaming, or if you're driving and you don't have anything to listen to, which I know sounds psychotic, but sometimes I don't like to listen to anything, especially when I'm running. I just listen to my own breaths. I like to imagine the person that I want to be or I could be next year. One of my friends said that she wants to build casually muscular arms, which is not something that I've ever really aspired to, but because she said that, I was like, maybe I want to build casually muscular arms next year. And so I tried to picture a person, me, a different version of me who has casually muscular arms. What does she actually do every single day to attain those casually muscular arms? Chances are she's probably doing some sort of workouts with her arms, dumbbell curls, things I don't normally do. But she probably does that on a consistent basis in order to build up something that looks so easy, but actually requires putting in a lot of consistent effort. And so if I really wanted to look like that way, then I would start incorporating those habits into my life right now. But if I wanted to to continue living my life the way it is now, if I'm happy with how I look now, I guess nothing has to change, because nothing changes if nothing changes. And of course there's nothing wrong with that, but then if you are happy with how you are and you're happy with the status quo and you have nothing to change or improve about yourself, then maybe you should stop watching this video, because this video is all about that. Usually when I picture the person of my dreams, it's not the person who's going to be going home after a long day of work and vegging out on the couch watching Netflix all day. In fact, when I do that now, I feel really gross. I'm just not the type of person who can sit still to begin with, because I have ADHD, but that's a totally different story. Maybe this is a toxic problem and maybe this is a me thing that I need to change, but sometimes sitting on the couch doing nothing and just watching TV for hours makes me feel like I am a melted glob and I have to suddenly get up and just like do a bunch of jumping jacks or go for like a 5-mile run just to feel like better about myself. So does anyone else feel this way, or is it just me, or am I just crazy? But I'm not that type of person now, and I can imagine the type of person who does that on a consistent basis, and I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person with casually muscular arms. I like to pick 4 to 5 different things every month that I'm going to stick with every day as part of some sort of challenge. 30 days is optimal for me. I give myself a 30-day challenge every month, and it doesn't have to be consecutively 30 days. I'm not keeping up a streak. I just count every day that I complete all the things on my list, and then when I reach 30 days, I buy myself like a cute little gift. The reward could be to just realize how much better you feel about yourself or how much better you look, but like, let's cut that, because I will actually buy myself something nice, like a new pair of shoes, or something I've been eyeing, like a new camera lens or a new air fryer or something. I like to pick 4 to 5 different things every month, and those things are going to come from each category: diet, exercise, mental health for me, some sort of writing or creativity or career driven task. By career, I mean my life purpose, which sounds really lofty and intense, but this is my life, and if I'm not doing something every day to contribute to what I feel like is my life purpose, then what's the point? If you have a job that you hate, this does not count towards the job that you hate. You need to pick something that's going to the creative field or the life purpose that you are really trying to attain. So if you're trying to write a book one day, if you want to become an author one day, pick a task that is going to contribute to that life purpose that you feel is in your soul and is in your God. Pick a task that you feel like you have been destined and you were born on this earth to do. I pick a habit from each of these categories, and then I complete each every single day. If I feel like I really cannot complete every single items on this task every day, then I try to aim for at least 5 to 6 days out of the 7. And like I said, it doesn't have to be consecutive, because that becomes too hard to me. If I lose a streak at like 10 days and I have to start over, I'm just gonna give up. I set myself up for 30 days because 30 days seems to be optimal for me, and then I switch it up every 30 days and add something else that's challenging or adjust accordingly if I found that something was a little too difficult. Because if I'm dreading seeing this list every day, then it's obvious that there's something on there that is just a little too difficult for me to do, or maybe it's just not in line with who I want to be right now, or maybe it's just something that I need to wait for the future, or it's just not fitting in with my life goals at the moment, and that's okay. It's okay to adjust. This is your challenge and your life, and if it's too hard, then it's just too hard right now, and that's okay. You can be kind to yourself. In fact, if compassion is something that you struggle with, maybe you should start adding being compassionate to this list as well, and that includes self-compassion. You know, just giving yourself a little hug every day and telling yourself everything's gonna be okay, or being easy on yourself at the end of the day. But on that note, you still need to change, because nothing changes if nothing changes. And if you are going to still be the person that you are every single day now, then you're going to wake up the same person you have always been 30 days from now. But if you change what you do now on a daily basis, then 30 days from now you will wake up a changed person. However, I tend to overdo things, especially when I'm very excited at the very beginning in the honeymoon phase. I'm very excited about something. I burn myself out, so that's something I need to watch out for, and that's why I try to choose something that is challenging enough where I feel excited and motivated to do it, but not so hard that I burn out and then I don't want to do this thing anymore. And then if something becomes too easy, then the next month I make it a little more challenging. For example, when my 16-hour daily fast became a little too easy, I started trying to incorporate 17-hour fasts, which ironically has now become a little too hard, so I might switch back to the 16-hour fast, but we'll see how I end up with this next 30 days. Or I walk an extra lap, or I push myself to run an extra mile or something. But in order to first trust the process, you need to create a process that fits in line with what you want to do and what your goals are for the future. I hope this was helpful to you in some way. My name is Van, and my channel is all about self-improvement. I also write books, and I have a newsletter, so please go check it out. It's on my website, authorvanhoang.com. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!